Hi, today I wanted to talk you through possibly one of the easiest spreads that you can do. I've already shuffled the deck 'cause it's quite hard to shuffle and hold my little camera tripod. As you may have guessed, technology is not my greatest talent. I'll be looking to learn more about videos and such like as time allows. So I've shuffled my deck. Whilst I shuffled my deck, I asked, how should I best develop the shaman side of my business? It's quite expansive at the moment with some writing, some teaching, some groups, some healing. It's getting a little bit too big to manage, okay? And I think one of the easiest 3-card spreads when you want clear advice is one for situation. I'm reading with the Rider-Waite deck here and I've got 6 Pentacles. So situation, 6 Pentacles. If you've read my blogs, you'll know that in relationships this can be quite a controlling card, but this isn't a relationship reading. This is about an area of my business, and it would suggest it's doing okay. You're getting if this comes up in a business reading, I always check in and think, is this to do with relationships with clients, bosses, such like, talking about control. I'm checking in with my intuition. That doesn't feel comfortable, it doesn't feel right. So then to me that tends to mean you're getting by, you're getting enough. And I would agree, right now I am earning enough from my shaman's business, but I would like to expand that side of the business. So now I'm going to ask for advice. The 9 of Pentacles. I know a lot of people really like this card. I don't. It's not one of my most favourite cards. But the good thing about this card is I think for me she talks about skills. And if we look at the hunting bird up here, the hooded hunting bird, I've never trained an animal, in fact, let alone a hunting bird. But when I was researching this card and I was reading about training an animal, training a bird, what I read about was that if you're the trainer, you need complete and utter discipline. The trainer needs to be more disciplined than the bird ever will be. So the advice there is discipline. I'm quite a onesie kind of a person. I tend to get very excited, jump in with both feet and then get lost along the way. So the 9 of Pentacles to me is saying that I need to be more self-disciplined with the business. Okay, I can deal with that. Outcome, 10 of Pentacles. Well, I'm going to be honest and say that this is my business. I would like enough money to feel comfortable, to meet my needs and to have a few luxuries. So that to me is saying that right now my business is doing well enough, which I would agree, the shaman side. More discipline would really help, and that developing and focusing and putting more effort into the shaman side of my business is a worthwhile investment. That's good. Now I always like to look at the card at the bottom of the pack, the Emperor. What I'm looking for in a reading is I'm looking for the story, the resonance, the relationship. What do all of those cards have in common? And I would argue the answer is self-discipline. The Emperor is self-discipline. The Emperor is having a plan and following it through. The Emperor is the father figure. He is the mind, the brain, goal setting. And that really resonates with all of these cards. Now you may see in a lot of books some really complicated spreads that, I hate complicated spreads. I hate having to turn from my cards to the book. I much prefer spreads that grow to answer my question. So if you've done a spread, as I have here, and I'm thinking, woo, I'm thinking, yes, I like this. This is good. This speaks of hard work, but also financial reward and feeling successful and feeling achievement. That's great. But I'd like a bit more clarity. How? Today? Tomorrow? What should I do? So my advice is to leave the 3 card spread out. Take the rest of your deck. You can't see me, but behind the camera I am currently shuffling. And I'm going to ask, great, I'm going to say, okay, I really like that. I'm really happy that if I could be a bit more self-disciplined, a bit more focused, then I can find success and abundance through my shaman path. That's quite a long-term goal. What should I do this month? Halfway through September? For the rest of September, I am going to pull 3 cards. They should be my focus. Now, these are not prediction cards. When you're shuffling, your intent is the most important part. These are not prediction cards. I only have 1 prediction card in this spread, and it's that one. Now, if this had been a terrible card, I would have looked at that and I would have said, I don't like that. And I would have done what I'm doing now, and I would shuffle for advice. I would say, how do I improve that? What could I do to improve this outcome? But I like that. So now I'm shuffling to say, great, what do I do to make that happen? How do I make this future now a little bit more certain? So, shuffling, shuffling, shuffling. I like to cut. It's not important. I like to cut like that. I don't think there is ever one way to shuffle. Shuffling the way that works for you is the best. And here we go. Thanks. Isn't it great when the cards have a joke with you? What should I best do this month? Self-discipline. So I have created a 9-course curriculum, a series of 9 workshops to teach core shamanism. Definitely that is something then I need to have a plan. For this September, I need to look at how much work I can do each day towards this, how much writing, and set very clear goals. Ace of Cups to the... See, I'm laughing now. This to me is connection to the divine. You can see a lot of imagery here about divinity. We have the white dove of Christianity. We have the water lilies here. This is connection to the divine. I definitely need to do more things to switch off my left brain and allow the ideas to flow through my right brain through connection to divinity. For me, that's going to be drumming, setting aside to drum for myself rather than for other people. The 9 of Cups, a clear vision of the future. Acknowledging what I have now and knowing where I want to go. That's quite key, because the shaman side of my business tend to add services when people say, could you do this? And I think, yeah, I could actually. So for the rest of this month, I am going to sit down this afternoon and write out a very clear goal that I can achieve at the end of this month, by Christmas, by spring. And then I'm going to set quite small goals for the rest of this month. I'm going to set aside time at least twice weekly for me to connect to my higher self. I usually only do that when I'm supporting others. And I'm going to pause and think, what is it I want at the end of this? So these are advice cards. Card at the bottom of the pack, always worth checking. 7 of Swords. I like that card. I've always liked that card. To me, that is an element of taking a risk. Mixing things up, blending things. So I've got very solid, very stable cards here with all the Pentacles and the Emperor. I've got pausing to connect, vision boarding if you like, but considering what I want at the end of it. But there's a sense that what I create at the end of this will be quite unique. And that's also, to me, the 7 of Swords is about trusting and going with the flow a little bit. Trusting that the end outcome will be worth it if I follow these advice cards. So have a go for yourself. Remember how it started. Write your question down, always good. 3 cards. This represents the current situation. You should be able to key into this and go, yes, that's right, because this reflects the current situation now. Card 2 is advice. Card 3 is likely outcome. Check the card at the bottom of the pack. Leave this spread out, shuffle the remaining deck, and pull another 3 advice cards. If this card is bad, or you don't like it, or it doesn't feel like it's where you want to go, the 3 advice cards are what can you do to improve this? And if you love this, the 3 advice cards are great. How do I make sure I get here?